stories of the Bible. Jonah. This is Jonah. Jonah was a prophet. That means it was his job to tell people what God told him to say.
Yep.
One day, God told Jonah to go to Nineveh because the people of Nineveh were doing bad things. But instead, Jonah ran away. And went to the port to board a ship, going the other way. He was hoping to get away from God. He sailed for a place called Tarshish. While he was at sea, God sent a great and powerful wind over the sea that caused a storm that seemed like it would break the ship apart. Fearing for their lives, the sailors tried everything they could think of to save the ship. Meanwhile, Jonah was sound asleep, so the captain went down and said, "How can you sleep at a time like this? Get up and pray to your God. Maybe he will help us." Then the crew figured out that Jonah was the reason for the storm. And they asked him, "Who are you? Why is this happening to us?" Jonah told them who he was and that he worshiped the one true God who made the sea. Then he told the sailors to throw him in the sea so the storm would stop.
No, why?
The sailors still tried to escape the storm, but it was no use. So they asked God for forgiveness and threw Jonah into the sea. The storm stopped at once.
Whoa!
The sailors were amazed at God's power and they vowed to serve him. Now God sent a great fish to swallow Jonah.
Great.
And Jonah was inside the fish for 3 days and nights. Jonah prayed to God from inside the fish, and God ordered the fish to spit Jonah out.
Yuck.
God told Jonah again to go to the city of Nineveh to tell them what God had said about them.
I get it.
This time, Jonah obeyed God and went to Nineveh to deliver God's message. The people of Nineveh stopped doing bad things and turned to God. They were saved because they listened to the message that God had given Jonah.
Hey guys, and welcome back to our last week of our Jonah series. You know, I could sit here and tell you the story of the last chapter of Jonah, but I have someone who I think might do a better job than me. So without further ado, let me introduce you to J-Dog himself, Mr. Jonah. Hey guys, Jonah here. You've been learning about my story the past few weeks, so you know that God told me to go to the city of Nineveh, and I skedaddled the other way, and I tried to run away from God, and that didn't work out so well for me, and I ended up in the belly of a fish for 3 days and 3 nights. What's up with that? And so I prayed to God, and he forgives me, and the fish spits me on the land, and then what do? I go to the city of Nineveh, and I do what God told me to do. And last week, you learned that the whole city of Nineveh repented, which means that they decided to do what God told them to do, and that God saved the entire city. Now that sounds good, right? But, old Jonah here, I still don't like the city of Nineveh, I still think they're all a bunch of schmucks, a bunch of jerks, the kind of people that would not stop their camel when you're trying to cross the street, just real low lives. So I go and I sit on a hill outside the city and I just wait on God to destroy them because that's what I want, right? I just don't want them to be there anymore. And so while I'm on this hill, God allows a plant to grow up to give me some shade because you know how hot it gets in the summer. We like our shade, right? I didn't have a swimming pool to go to, so all I had was this little plant. And this plant died. And then the sun got real hot and the wind picked up and it was like a microwave oven. And so old Jonah's sitting there just wanting to be anywhere else. And he said, God, why are you doing this to me? You know what God told me? He said, why do you care more about the plant than you do about the people in Nineveh? And you know, that got me thinking. That got the old wheels up here in the noggin turning. And so, does my book say what happens? Does my book say what decision I make? No, but I would like to think that after spending 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a fish, that I would listen to God this time. That I would care about the people in Nineveh as much as he cares about them. So take a lesson from old Jonah, from old J-Dog here. And care about people. People you like, people you don't like, people that are nice, people that you think are bullies. Care about them, because that's what God does for us. You know, old Jonah here did lots of things that God didn't like. But you know what? God cared enough about me to send a fish when I was in the middle of the sea. And he cared enough about me to send a plant to teach me a lesson about caring about people. So, be like me. Learn your lesson. Care about people. Because God doesn't have to care about us, but he loves us enough to care about us. You know, God is perfect. God doesn't do anything wrong. And we mess up all the time. We don't listen to our parents. We don't listen to our teachers. We sometimes sneak that piece of candy that we're told not to do. We do lots of things, right? So, if we are that bad and God doesn't do anything wrong, but God still cares enough about us to try to help us out, I think we can do that for other people, don't you think? So I want you to really think hard about that and all that you learned from my story. And I want you to try your hardest this week to go out of your way to be nice to people, to care about people, to show people how God feels about them too. Thanks for letting me come and talk to you tonight, and I hope that you have a great week, and I hope that you kind of learned something from my story that you can take with you. Hey guys, I hope that you enjoyed Jonah's story, and I hope that you were able to take away the main lesson, which is that we should really care about people. Not just the people we like or the people that are nice to us, but even the people that we don't like or people that we think might be mean or rude. Why? Because we're bad too. We're not perfect, and because all of us make mistakes and God cares about all of us, then we should care about people too, because that's one way that we can show God to other people. When we care about people, regardless of what they do to you, what we do is we show them that we love them and we care about them the same way that God does. So I hope that you're able to take that lesson and apply it to your life this week at home and at school and everywhere that you go. With that said, I'm going to get into our memory verse. Now, if you weren't on here last week, the memory verse is going to be a pretty cool thing. We're going to have 3, one for every month of Blast this semester. And on the memory verse, if you can say each month the memory verse, you can do it in the carpool line. You can find a Blast worker, someone that you know helps with Blast outside of church, and you can tell it to them, or you can send a video with your parents or to me of you saying it, and I'll put your name in a drawing. So every month, everyone that says the verse will get their name in a drawing for a prize. But if you can say all 3 verses, the verse for every month, in December, you will get invited to a Christmas party that we're going to have. So next week is the deadline for the first week, or first month. So if by next Wednesday you can tell me the verse, or I can hear you say the verse on a video or something, then I will put your name in for a drawing that we will do in next week's video. So keep that in mind, and before we do anything, let's go over that verse one more time together. This month's verse is Matthew chapter 12, verse 40. And it says, "For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a huge fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth." I hope that you put the work in to memorize that verse, and I hope that I get a chance to hear you say it or see a video of you saying it before next week. And I hope that you will go out this week and care about other people, even if it's hard to at times. And I hope that you all have a great time, and we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday when we do the drawing for all those that memorize the verse, but we also start a new series over the different stories that Jesus told people and the lessons that we can get from them. So y'all have a great week, and I will see you next Wednesday.